Years on from the height of the COVID pandemic, Queensland Health is right now deciding whether frontline workers still need to be vaccinated.
So you're telling me that after 3 years of this garbage, and they don't even prevent transmission on anyone, whether vaxxed or unvaxxed, that they still trying to decide whether they should be having them or not? Are you serious?
3,000 nurses are off work due to the mandate, and even though the review continues, 9 News can reveal unvaccinated nurses are being sacked in the midst of a workforce crisis.
So these silly mandates are still upheld, even though Australia has decided it's no longer in a state of emergency due to the pandemic. Outside of the state of emergency? Wouldn't that be considered illegal in a perfect world?
By the government's own admission, Queensland is battling the effects of a global health workforce shortage.
It's obviously because mainstream media, the medical industry and the government have all sold out to Big Pharma. If society can't see that there's something wrong with preventing people from going to work to earn a living because of a certain medical status that they don't have, the sooner Australia wakes up, the better. If this isn't blatant government overreach, then what is?
Our state's nurses under incredible strain.
Many are leaving the profession because they're worried that a patient's going to die on their watch because they don't have the capacity to provide safe care.
It's time everybody stood up and said, no, we ain't going to take this no more. We have good nurses on the side that can't go to work because of some silly legislation.
Despite that, thousands of qualified nurses are currently barred from coming to work. During the COVID pandemic, nurses, like other healthcare workers on the front line, were told they needed to be vaccinated.
Why though? What does it actually do? Does it stop people in the community from passing it on to each other? So the individual can't make medical decisions for themselves anymore. The individual has to make medical decisions for the rest of society? But it's been proven that these vaccines don't stop transmission.
Last month, Queensland Health announced that requirement is now under review. The union says there are at least 3,000 nurses waiting for the outcome.
Nurses who have been stood down for 2 years continue to receive text messages from their overburdened wards crying out for staff to take extra shifts. They are ready to take up that call if they're given the chance.
What this proves is that the government is so over the top with their drastic decision that they made from 2 years ago to force people to go and get this jab. They're so over the top about it that they can't back down. So they are pretending that to have this thing into your arm before you enter a workplace still makes a difference.
But even with the review into vaccine requirements underway, nurses are being sacked. At least 10 from various hospitals sent termination letters like this in the past few weeks. You have failed to follow a reasonable and lawful direction to comply with the vaccination requirements, adding, due to the serious nature of the allegation, the disciplinary action chosen was termination of employment.
When reality is, everybody walking the earth knows that it makes no difference whether you have it in your body or not. Thank you. Send these nurses back to work now and hold the Australian government accountable for the ridiculousness that this is.
Queensland Health must cease all disciplinary proceedings immediately and redirect their efforts to reinstating 3,000 healthcare workers to a system that's on the brink of collapse.
One nurse who has been sacked telling 9 News, "You don't realise until it happens just how devastating it feels. There are just no words. After faithfully serving in a difficult career for nearly 40 years, I've just been discarded and permanently labelled."
Can't you see what's wrong with this? The government overreach has gone too far. Most people know in Australia that it's just over the top and way too much.
In the past hour, I've heard from Queensland Health about our story. We asked when the review will be complete. It'll only say in the next few months.
And we can all see what it is. It's borderline communism. Thank you.
But in a statement, a spokesperson confirmed the review will also consider the impact of any recommendations on the health workforce shortages that we are facing.
Say what? After 2 years of this garbage, they're only just going to consider the implications of this on the workforce? 2 years and they're still going to take a couple of months to review this? You've got to be kidding me. Thank you.
The government has said human resource processes are a matter for Queensland Health.
It's time that bureaucracy was buried. Thank you.
In the termination letters, it's been acknowledged the disciplinary action will be going on the nurses' record. So it's obviously something they are hugely worried about, getting a job moving forward. Andrew, Melissa will stay across this story.
Yeah, it's a huge loss of staff, isn't it? Jess, thank you.
And that's all the mainstream media journalists can say. Oh, it's a huge loss of staff. No, mate, how about you say it's ridiculous what the government is doing to society in Australia with regards to this? Come on, mate, get serious. Start the hard questions. Start telling your mainstream media audience that what the government is doing in society to these workers in this current climate is bloody wrong. It's morally wrong, it's ethically wrong, and you will all be held accountable. Even you, Mr. Mainstream Media guy. Thank you.
You've been watching another Hang Loose Recluse production. Thank you.